To the live stream, and we're going to be covering the topic of college football. The landscape is changing. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates and all the breakdowns as people file in. You want to make sure you hit that subscription button. Without further ado, let's get right into it. College football, as we know it, the landscape has changed. When you think about just overall what it used to be a college football head coach, it just used to mean you had to recruit. You had to go to a couple of players' houses. You had to kiss babies, rub elbows with moms, with aunts, with sisters, brothers, or possible fathers. And some, handshake deals, some promises that kids will start or kids will get playing time. But that used to be the full extent of it. Now you have to be a full CEO of the company. You have to help with NIL deals. You have to help with securing funding. You have to help with boosters. You have to help with so many different things that college football has become a full-fledged business. And when you think about it, players now can demand millions of dollars to come to your school. There's now a value on how much a quarterback can cost, or a value on how much a running back can cost, or a value of how much a wide receiver can cost from one team to the next. And you're looking at all these things happening in real time. You're seeing some coaches struggle. I know that Nick Saban left the game because he was tired of it. He was tired of having to negotiate with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds like this was professional football. When you go into homes and kids are asking you, well, how much money are you going to give me for the NIL? And it's just like, wait, what? You haven't proven anything yet. Like, well, how should you get millions of dollars for not doing anything? And you're talking about dealerships, endorsements, scholarships. You're talking about so many different things that now the level playing field of college football has leveled itself out to where any coach can be a scavenger. Any school can be a scavenger. Any team can come poach your team. And it doesn't matter if you got talent or not. If you got a big enough check, that mid-major can come take your quarterback. Or that Power 5 school can come take your quarterback if you're a small school or a big school. If the check's big enough and it's enticing enough, you could find yourself having to replace some top-tier talent. And what we've seen is teams like Tennessee have had situations where now quarterbacks are getting greedy and they're asking for more money, or they're asking for more endorsements, and they're kicking people off the team, or they're letting people go. And you just ask yourself, if Clemson would have taken NIL more serious, would Dabo Swinney be in the situation that he is now? If the current Clemson team had more players in the NIL, and they went and focused on getting guys out the transfer portal and not just strictly sticking to high school recruits and things like that, would they be a powerhouse right now? Would they have a little bit more wins? Would they have a better season going on? Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State, would he have been more as far as job security right now instead of being fired? There's a number of things that go on in college football, and you just got to ask yourself, at what point in time does this turn the tide? At what point in time does hitting that NIL portal or doing some of the things that they've done in the past pan out for them in a better way? It's crazy just to think that a couple years ago, Alabama used to have a stockpile of talent. And you're talking about Jerry Jeudy. You're talking about Devontae Smith. You're talking about the likes of, what's the guy that went to the Vegas Raiders? God, what is his name? It'll come back to me. But literally, when you have 3, 4, 5 great talent, and they all stay all on the same team. When they all stay on the same team, and you're just looking overall at what these guys do from the standpoint, college recruiting. Getting all the guys to stay on the same team, getting all the guys to essentially be where they want them to be. And thinking about just overall what it means for this team to and this is college football. Powerhouses like Georgia, powerhouses like South Carolina, powerhouses like Ohio State, powerhouses like Bama, or any Power 5 school that feels they're good enough, if they poach teams or if they hit the transfer portal, will that make them that much more better? Will that give them a chance to get more coaching security, if you will? College football is truly a business, man. It's turned into a big business. And it was one thing where the handshake deals were under the table. Now everything's on the table. So when you've got guys that are playing quarterback, like, for example, Michigan, it's been reported that their Michigan quarterback is $10 million. So numbers of teams have gone out and recruited several different players. And you just look at Ohio State last year, 14 plus $1 million to field that team. When you've got millions of dollars being pumped into a school, millions of dollars being pumped into a team, and guys getting paid like they're professionals, that's where we're at. You're going to have to pay to play. And it's tough because some of the best teams in college will suffer because of this. Coaches will be fired. Their expectations, if you're putting millions of dollars in a program, you want to see results. You want to see wins. You don't want to just see one or two victories here or there. You want to see a championship somewhere. You want to see a SEC title or a Big Ten title. If you're pumping millions of dollars into a program and you're not reaching the college football playoff, you're not making an advancement in a big way, shape, or form, it's crazy. It's crazy, folks. It's crazy. It's crazy. But overall, I think that with college football, the evolution of college football, guys are going to have to make choices. And what I mean by guys, I mean head coaches. They're going to have to pander towards the transfer portal. They're going to have to pander towards certain things because if you want to win, you're going to have to do these things. It's almost critical. It's almost critical. And you got to ask yourself, at what point do you say, okay, I don't want to win college football games anymore? Because if you're competing with teams that are in the transfer portal heavy, chances are you're going to get your butt kicked. Chances are you're going to get your butt kicked all over the field. If you look at Georgia Tech, the reason that their team is where it is now, you have a couple of different transfers. Look at their quarterback. Started out at a different school, transfer portal. Look at just some of the moves that they've made and some of the things that they've done, transfer portal. And you got to think, Nick Saban left Alabama again because of what? He didn't want to compete with this kind of stuff. He didn't want to go back and forth and have to pay players and to kiss the players' butt if they didn't like certain things. And he wanted to where it was going to be his way or the highway. He liked having full power. He liked having full control. Now look at Bama. It's not the same. Kalen DeBoer is not anything close to Nick Saban. When you look at Clemson and the way that they've fallen off from grace, just think about this. Dabo has 2 national championships at Clemson. Now he's looked at as a bad coach. And it's partially because he did not hit the transfer portal enough. You got to think, if you're facing teams that have hit the transfer portal, they've got mixes and matches of high school kids, transfer portal kids, NIL kids. There's a strong chance that they have national championship aspirations. Just look at Miami. They turned the tide last year with Cam Ward, hitting the transfer portal. And now you have Carson Beck, who came through Georgia, who came through the transfer portal, and now is at Miami. Now they're undefeated. Now they're playing at big-time levels, possibly making the college football playoff this season. Their expectation raises when you make more money and put more money into the NIL and you put more money into the transfer portal. Things happen differently when you do those things. So when you're looking at college football and the evolution, when you have teams switching conferences like Texas and Oklahoma, why do you think Oklahoma is so good right now? The transfer portal. They have a lot of talent on that roster. Yes, it's Oklahoma, but they've also been helped by the transfer portal. When you think of Georgia, the likes of getting linemen in there, when you think of the likes of getting quarterbacks in there and getting running backs in there, at one point in time, they were quarterback you. Georgia literally had so many different quarterbacks, yet Justin Fields going someplace else. What's the kid that transferred to Washington a couple years ago? That was a Georgia high recruit. So they have a number of guys that recruit to Georgia and essentially hit the transfer portal because they've got too many good players in line. So you just got to ask yourself, is your college football team going to play the NIL game and get in bed with players to make sure that they've got what they need? You just have to ask yourself, at what point in time does college football say, you know what, we're going to put a cap on this? You know, you'll find situations where college football is not where it needs to be. So moving forward, I think that college football has got itself in some trouble. And I think that the only way to win is if you hit the NIL portal. All you sports fans, get in the comment section below. Definitely check out